In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted and living Christ, now at the right hand of the Savior as Mahdi. And I bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the Messiah in our midst in this day of judgment in which we now live. It is in their names that I greet my family with the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
How are the believers?
Fine, sir. All praises due to Allah.
It has been a while. It's been a minute.
Yes, yes. Allahu Akbar.
Let's see. We got Sister Carol. We got Sister Karima. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Karima.
Wa alaikum salam.
And we got Sister Pamela. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
And we got the doctors in the house. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wadu.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
All right. As always, before we get started, we open up the floor for questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, suggestions, anything that's on our mind about anything that's been covered in the past or the journey we're about to undertake from this point forward. Is there anything that anyone would like to bring to the floor?
I did not find out about the class until today, so I didn't do the homework.
Oh, that's fine.
I am familiar with it.
Okay. So I'm assuming that you did not do the Dianetics extension course, correct?
No, I studied the volunteer ministers, the volunteer ministry with Dianetics, because I'm a part of disaster preparedness, responsive recovery.
Okay.
So, yeah. So,
Okay. Have you ordered an extension course?
when the minister first told us about it in 2010, I ordered the kit.
Okay.
So I have ordered the book, and he gave us the kit when we were at in Chicago, the north suburb. Yeah, so he gave us the free extension course.
Okay. Do
And
you still have it?
I have the questions, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's see who else we have. We have Sister Tina. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. Nukman and family.
Salam, ma'am.
And Martin's phone. So I'm assuming this is Brother Martin and Sister Denise.
Brother Martin, yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All right. So this is not Brother Martin and Sister Denise. This is just Brother Martin.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, what our intention is this. And Sister Wahida, this is what we were actually just talking about before everyone came on. When the energy was high back in 2010, 2011, 2012, we were all caught up in the moment of getting involved and embarking on another level of study to go along with our study of our teachings. And based on next month will be the 1 year anniversary of us doing the Supreme Wisdom Meets Supreme Technology. And the one thing that I've seen is that many of us have started the extension course, but we did not complete the extension course. So what I wanted to do is, as part of my contribution to the believers, is to share what I have been blessed to find in now, it's been 11 years of studying the tech. In my study of the tech, I have found correlations and correspondence with the help of Allah to ayats of the Holy Quran. And I have been able to find, as you would say, ARC or correspondence between some of the terminology that's used in Dianetics to some of the terms in Arabic that are found in the Holy Quran. So what I wanted to do was assist the believers that have already completed the Dianetics to go through it once again in conjunction with finding the connections to the Holy Quran and our supreme wisdom. And I also wanted to assist the believers who did not complete the course. That way, in completion of the course, the believers can then go to the org, do the final steps that are necessary, and receive the gold seal in completion of the work. And the reason why I think this is so important is we can see the level of insanity that's taking place right now. But I firmly believe that on the departure of the minister, we're going to see even more. And I think we're going to see it increase. And this is just my opinion, my belief. I believe we're going to see an increase actually within the ranks. And so if the believers follow the instructions that the minister gave in getting this tech, then we will be instrumental in not only assisting the believers in the nation, but assisting on all, what we call on all four dynamics, our friends, our family, because when the minister departs, it's not going to be just believers that are going to feel the pain of his absence. There are those that may not be in the ranks, but they may be supporters, and they may feel that as well. So those of us that have the interest in the Dianetics and the background, it would behoove us to get back on our study, that we can prepare ourselves to be, as Sister Cheryl always says, part of the 144,000, if it be the will of Allah. So that is what we'll be doing over the course of the next couple of weeks, going question by question through the extension course. The only difference is between now and the way we might have done it in the past is, as we go through each question, we're going to see if we can find some correlation to when I say the supreme wisdom, that word includes Holy Quran, the supreme wisdom, message to the black man, how to eat to live. It represents all that which the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us. We're going to find the correlations. Just in the first couple of chapters alone, I could share probably anywhere from 20 to 30 ayats of the Holy Quran that line up with the tech perfectly. So that's just kind of a quick overview. Tonight, we're going to deal with I'm going to give an example of for those that are new to the group. And the only one I think that it may be new would be Sister Karima. I'm going to get a quick overview of the methodology, I guess, that I use in teaching this. And when you deal with the first question, and it's the way the book opens up, he asks the question, do you agree that man needs a science of mind? We're going to address that question, but we're going to address it from the perspective of the Holy Quran and the Arabic language to find the correlations. I'm going to give some examples of how the tech is in the Holy Quran. And then for individuals that have questions that they've already completed and would like to discuss these questions or any questions about Dianetics whatsoever, I'm pretty much going to open the floor up for discussion. So the first part of the class will be just to give a brief overview. The second part will be discussion. Feel free to stop me at any time. I don't mind addressing questions or comments or whatsoever. As always, I value your cognitions, because the cognition that you might have might be the solution that helps someone make a major breakthrough on their own journey. I see we have Brother Eric that just joined us. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Eric. You're on mute, Brother Eric, if you're trying to respond. I see we have Sister Jocelyn. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Jocelyn.
Walaikum salam, Brother Lukman and family.
And we have Sister Deborah. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir, and family.
Okay. So with that being said, is there anything that needs to be addressed before we get started? Okay. Let me get my PowerPoint here. Okay, can everybody see this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping that the first part should take no more than 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And then we can open up the floor to specific questions. But again, ask questions at any time, it doesn't matter. The basis of Supreme Wisdom meets Supreme Technology is, I would say, this is one of the main ayats from the Holy Quran. And it says, and we have revealed the book to be explaining all things, and a guidance and a mercy and a good news for those who submit. And to me, this ayat tells me that anything that we learn, whether it's from the school of Scientology, from whatever it is that we study, we can find the roots, the principles, the formulae, the axioms, as Brother Batim would say, the fundamentals. We can find those principles contained in the Holy Quran. Allah has given us a book that explains all things. It's up to us to do the study and to dig and find all the, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, to dig in to find all the jewels that Allah might show us. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So part one, we're going to talk about the science of the mind. And then part two, we'll start going through the questions. I know there's no way we'll probably get through 1 through 12, but the plan is that everyone that begins the process, when we complete this process, and as you're going through this, make sure you turn in your questions to your local org so that you can get credit for your lessons. And the goal is that at the end of this, those of us that do not have a certificate or a gold seal, the goal is that everyone will have completed this course in concordance with the desires and the requests of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's see here. So the learning objectives for tonight. Again, we want to study Dianetics Book 1 in conjunction with the Holy Quran and the Supreme Wisdom. We're going to go into the concept of word clearing, which is one of the major keys in the Dianetic tech of study. We want this course to kind of inspire us. If we have not been already, we want to increase our study of the Holy Quran and the Supreme Wisdom. And we want to use the Holy Quran as a book of equations or formulae, as the minister says in the name of the lecture was, oh, what is the name of that lecture he spoke? The time, I think it was called The Time and What Must Be Done, The Great War. Contained in the Holy Quran are principles that are so key. And I'm gonna, with the help of Allah, show that and prove that tonight to the believers, that as we go through the course, our minds will kind of open up a little bit more. And we're gonna go into an increase in understanding of the Arabic language itself. And that's the key. By going into the Holy Quran and finding key terms, key words in the Holy Quran, and then we apply the concept of word clearing to Arabic words, we will find out that there are certain words in the Holy Quran that correspond exactly with the terminology that's found in Dianetics technology. Sister Ania, I see you made it. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
All right. And I see 361. Who is 361?
That's me. That's Sister Denise.
Oh, Sister Denise. Okay, Sister Denise. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Denise. And then I think I saw Sister Anya coming in. Okay. Okay, the terminal objectives. What is the outcome? What is the goal of this? The goal is we want to complete the Dianetics Book 1 extension course. And with the help of Allah, every week we are going to plug at this until we complete it. If my schedule permits, we will not only meet on Sunday, but we might actually do it on Sunday night and possibly Wednesday morning. But we'll see how that works out. That way, it just allows us to get through the tech quicker. We want the believers to get the gold seal. In the midst of all this chaos, we may be the only thing that keeps our own friends and family members from losing their minds. Just by us having an understanding of how the mind operates. And we don't necessarily have to say that we're using Dianetic tech. The reason why the minister, and these are based on the words that the minister gave us, and I'm paraphrasing, he wanted us to go and get the tech, but bring it back in the language that we know. So by going through the Holy Quran, we are going to give our friends and family, we're going to translate the tech of Dianetics into the language that our family members know. And when I say that, I mean by this, we have family members that are Christian, correct?
Yes, sir.
So they may not understand Dianetics. They might have certain feelings about Scientology, and they may not even fully understand the Holy Quran. But if we can straight wire them using the tech of Dianetics, but we use the language of the Bible, then we can audit them, lock, scan, straight wire them through the book that they already study. So if they're in the church, we can get to their mind through the Bible. If they're believers in Islam who were kind of not really involved in the tech of Dianetics, we can still get through to them through the language of the supreme wisdom in the Holy Quran. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when you give a baby a bottle, you put a little Islam in it. And what that means is, what I believe it means is that no matter what we teach our family, friends, brothers and sisters, whatever it is, we teach them in their own language, but we slip the Islam in as a healing agent. The same way you would give medicine to a child, you put it in orange juice or you put it in the oatmeal or the applesauce or whatever it is. So you're giving them the medicine, but you're giving it to them in the food or the drink that they enjoy so that they don't taste perhaps the bitterness of the medicine. But we're going to do that with the Dianetics. We want to prepare for the work that is in store for us with regards to ourselves, our families, our people, and mankind as a whole. Those are what we would call the 4 dynamics. Now, this is the key point right here. Understanding this one principle is going to make everything else very, very easy to understand. There's a law in mathematics, and it's called the law of substitution. And we're gonna use this law every time we come, pretty much every time we come on these calls. The law of substitution says, and of course we got to use a little mathematics, so we know Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, and it stands true. You can always prove it no limited time. If A equals B, and I'm going to go step by step through this so we're perfectly clear with it. If A equals B, then B can replace A in any equation. Now here's what this means. If I say A plus 5 equals 7, okay, what is the value of A? This is algebra. If A plus 5 equals 7, then A equals how much?
2.
Okay.
True.
Okay, A equals 2. And the way you get that, if you subtract 5 from both sides, When you subtract 5 from plus 5, that equals what? If you have $5 in the bank and then you take out a $5 withdrawal, how much money do you have in the bank?
Zero.
Zero. See, if you talk money, then you understand math. So if we, so when you subtract, whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So if I subtract 5 on one side, I go on the other side of the equal sign. And when I subtract 5, what's left over? 2. Okay. So in that example, A equals 2. Is there anyone that does not understand that? Are everyone good on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so A
Yes,
equals 2. If I say B plus 10 equals 12, then B equals what?
2.
2. Okay. So the key is, since A equals 2 and B equals 2, then A equals B. Do you understand that part? Okay.
No,
Who said no?
I did, Sister Deborah.
Okay. See, in the first problem, A equals 2, correct?
Right,
In the second problem, B equals 2.
right.
Okay. So even though you have 2 different letters, they still have the same value,
Okay.
which means, can I now say B plus 5 equals 7?
Yes,
Why is it that I can say B plus 5 equals 7?
because it has the same value of 2.
It has the same value. So I could also say A plus 10 equals 12, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Here's the key. 2 different letters. Outwardly, they appear different. So based on what we see, they are different. But the unseen part of those letters is the same. Does that make sense?
yes,
Okay. So we're looking at something that appears to be different. It appears to be different, but they're the same. And what we're going to find out is we're going to come to a term in Dianetics. We're going to come to a term in Islam. These 2 terms are outwardly going to appear to be different, but these 2 words are going to be saying the same thing. Does that make sense?
yes,
Okay. It's very key that we understand that. We're going to have different language, different terminology, but when we clear the words and when we define the words, we're going to see that L. Ron Hubbard and the Most High Elijah Muhammad, L. Ron Hubbard and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, L. Ron Hubbard and the Holy Quran are saying the same thing. Everyone got that?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's the key to everything we're going to do, the law of substitution. So we're going to just give an example. We all have heard the term called the clear, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you notice, I'm gonna.
Yes, sir.
This is the prison minister in me, because I'm used to seeing faces. So you read the faces, so you can you give the message and you read faces. I can't read your face, so I have to go based on the feedback. Okay, so I'm gonna say, do you understand? Or I'm gonna say that it's just force of habit. So when you look at the word clear, this law of substitution, it also applies to words. Okay, so by definition, and this comes from the Dianetic Tech Dictionary, the word clear is a being who no longer has his reactive mind. L. Ron Hubbard says that the term comes from the name of a button on an adding machine. When you push it, all of the hidden answers in the machine clear, and the machine can be used for proper computation. So the clear is a person basically that you can't push his buttons. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
They're
Okay,
very
there's no buttons to be pushed anymore. So someone can say something to you, and in your mind, you already see what's coming, and you understand why they use the words that they use. It's like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, he doesn't listen to what you say, he listens to your intention. Has anyone ever heard that before?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when someone speaks a certain way, in your mind, and you've probably done this, I know I've done this, in your mind, you're looking at them like, I know what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know what you're trying to do. I know why you use that word. You're trying to get me to act out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got Brother Ahmad and Sister Sharon. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, beloved. Pardon my tardiness, but
That's
I'm present.
okay. I
Walaikum salam, sir.
can't see everyone, so I just saw you two pop up. I can only see 4 people at a time. So, it's good to see your smiling faces.
Yes, sir. Walaikum salam. Happy Savior's
Happy
Day.
Savior's Day. Okay, a clear is a being who has been cleared of wrong or useless answers which keep a person from living or thinking. Okay, we have useless information swimming around in our skull, and it's this useless information that's keeping us from being who we're supposed to be. He is called clear because his basic personality, his self-determinism, his education and experience have been cleared of aberrative shadows. Okay. Now, can we find a word in the supreme wisdom that has the same meaning as clear?
Cream.
Huh?
Cream.
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna go there. So some of you have already heard part of this, but we're laying the base. But yes, that's one word we're gonna go through in a second. If you look at this ayat, this says, he said, "My Lord, as thou hast judged me erring, I shall make evil fair seeming to them on earth, and I shall cause them all to deviate, except thy servants from among the purified ones." Now, this almost could be a conversation going on between the analytical mind and the reactive mind, because that's how the reactive mind works. The reactive mind is dead bent on making us deviate. But the key here is look at the word purified ones. That's the key I want us to look at, purified ones. So in Arabic, the word purified, the purified ones are called the al-muklasin. Muklasin. The root word is kalasa. Now, one thing about Arabic is when you have a word, the root word is made of 3 consonants. So in this one, the consonants are the ch sound, KH, the L, and the S. Okay, so al-muklasin, when you put mu on the front of a word, usually the word mu means one that is or one that does. So the al-muklasin are those that are purified. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
now let's dig a little deeper in the word kalasa and see what it means in Arabic. If we look at the word kalasa, we ask ourselves the question, is this equivalent to clear? And then when we pull up our handy dandy dictionary, can everyone see that?
Yes, sir.
Can someone
Yes, sir.
read the first 2 lines for me?
To be or become free. Be freed. Be liberated. Be clear.
That's right there. So the word kalasa also means to be clear. So here we have a term in Arabic. So if we use the law of substitution, we can interchange these words. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Y'all
sir.
with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then if you go down a little further, look at the definition for Roman numeral 2. Can you see where my pointer is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can someone read what's highlighted in the pink there?
To clear, purify, refine, purge, rectify.
Okay, so we can agree that the word clear in Dianetics is synonymous with the word kalasa in Arabic, which means purified ones, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
This is what we're going to do from question number 1 straight to question number 209 with the help of Allah. We're going to go through the whole book of Dianetics, and we're going to find Dianetics in the Holy Quran and the Supreme Wisdom. That's the goal. So we agree that we found a marriage.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Put this over here. And so this is what Sister Sharon was talking about. We say, who is the original man? We know that he's the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. And if we understand the tech, that question, that answer is actually giving us what we would call a cycle of action. That's a cycle of action. And I'm just trying to adjust my screen here. I'm trying to juggle everything. Here we go. Okay.
You
So-
said the cycle of action.
Can anyone read over, if you see where my pointer is, someone read that word for me?
Cream.
Okay, cream. So the word cream in Arabic is safwa. But if you go over here to the root word, safwa, read the first definition.
To be or become clear.
To be or become clear. So if we say, who is the original man? The Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, we could interchange that and say the maker, the owner, the purified ones, or the clear. Can we say that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's the law of substitution. When the terms, even though the words look different, when the meanings are the same, we can substitute the words and still have the same definition. And as we do this, we're finding what's called a union. In mathematics, you have something called sets, and you have union, you have conjunction. But when you have a union, you bring things together. So we can bring Dianetics together with Islam, and then we can find where there's aspects of Islam that are the same things that are in Dianetics. And those are the only things that we're concerned about right now. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the law of substitution says that if the word clear is the same as cream and purified ones, then mathematically speaking, these words are interchangeable. So when we say, he said, my Lord, as thou hast judged me erring, I shall certainly make evil fair seeming to them on earth, and I shall cause them all to deviate, except thy servants from among the purified ones, those that are clear. Can we say that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got a brief clip of the minister speaking. It's a clip from The Divine Destruction of America, dated June 9th, 1996. It's only about 2 minutes long. And it gives us, he explains one of the weapons that Allah will use in the chastisement. And then there's another video I'm going to show, and we've seen this video before, but I always want to include this video when necessary. So Minister Farrakhan gave us the trial that was coming. And then by introducing us to Dianetics, he gave us a solution to get through the trial. Okay.
My dear family, the Bible says that this grief that God is going to bring as chastisement, it will be such that when day comes, you wish it was night. And when night comes, you will wish It was day. And it said, you will be in such a bad state that you will want to die. And yet death will flee from you. God is going to hold you in it, won't let you die until he's ready to take you out. You're going to see people barking like dogs.
Has anyone over the course of the past 10 years been in that situation when grief has been introduced into their life?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the weapon that Allah will use in the chastisement is what? What did the minister say?
Grief.
Was it
It was
grief? Yeah.
Okay, he said it was going to be grief. So now, if grief is going to be something that's going to be used as part of the chastisement, wouldn't it make sense for Allah to raise up a mercy to show us how to get through the grief so that all of those that would follow the instruction would be in the grief but not of it? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's something like we're told that a storm is coming, but someone says, okay, here's the storm is coming. The storm has to come, but I'm going to show you how to prepare for it so that when the storm blows over, you'll still be here. That's pretty much where we are right now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, is there a solution? We know grief is going to be used because the minister said it. I know we've seen this before, but I'm going to play this again. Now, please forgive the title at the top where it says Farrakhan sells out to Scientology. The individual that posted this video was posting it in a way to speak against the nation. But this is the only YouTube video I could find. So please disregard that because we know that the minister didn't sell out. The minister gave us something that'll get us through the grief. Do we understand that point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
To learn. That's right. Okay, they can hear. They'll be able to hear it good through the region. Okay, then run the tape, please. I found something here. That I know we need. That would enable us to express the supreme wisdom that we already have, but it's like having a safe full of riches, but we lost the combination. So through Brother L. Ron Hubbard, we can open the wisdom that we have and execute that wisdom in a way that Scientology will be proud of us and we of them, but we are not a people that hide our light under a bushel basket. If we know that we gain something here, we're not the type of people that are ungrateful for what we receive that allows us to be better than what we are. I believe that Master Farad Muhammad knew that a meeting was going to take place like this. I don't know whether he met Brother L. Ron Hubbard, but I believe there was some contact. Scientists are like that. They meet in small little groups and they talk. And when they share with one another, they grasp little truths. that they expand on. Yes. There's something here that belongs to us. Go ahead. And L. Ron Hubbard was a man we were destined to meet at the proper time. So when you mentioned, washing feet, I sat there with tears in my eyes because the greatest gift that I could give you was to give you that which would make you what you know you already are. You understand? Yeah. And if you don't, think about what I'm saying. The greatest gift that you could receive after the supreme wisdom is the technology that will allow you to manifest. And that technology is, I discovered it, and I wanted you to see what I saw, hear what I heard, feel what I felt, so that you wouldn't be timid or afraid of knowledge that will help us to be ourselves. And so I invite you. And as I watched you relate to each other tonight, I said every believer in the nation needs what you experienced in this week. Nobody can lead in our nation until and unless they become clear. Are you with me? We have no school of theology. We just study the word and do the best we can, but the time is out for that. Everybody has to be qualified to have a position or post in the Nation of Islam. Master Farad said the Nation of Islam is all wise and does everything right and exact. Mistakes shall not exist in the nation. Meaning they'll be made, but you wipe them out by doing better. So I am grateful that you came. And now, as I see my time is coming, whatever that may mean to you, if I could leave you with a science and a technology that will open up the wisdom that you have quoted for years. But when you look at accomplishment, wisdom is known of its children. It's not what you say, it's what you can produce. So I hope, as Brother Shane had said, that this is not an end, this is a beginning, I pray, of a long and beautiful relationship. L. Ron Hubbard would be proud at this moment. And as I sat listening to you, I said, we need to go back to Chicago and set up a training center where we can bring all those who would want to be a part of this mission into Chicago like they do at their Mecca in Florida and teach them and train them and then send them out with qualification to do the job of the resurrection of our people. Man, I gotta go now, but I tell you, I hope that you all have a safe flight tomorrow. In fact, I think you'll be flying without a plane. Can't wait to get home to go to work. And I can't wait until everyone who wants to labor in this cause goes through what you just went through this week. I'm just grateful. May Allah bless you.
Questions, comments, thoughts? Go ahead, Brother
Yes,
Ma.
sir. Brother-
Assalamu alaikum, family, and happy Savior's Day.
Save his day.
Thank you, beloved. I had not seen that. I've heard about that.
Oh,
I think I might have read an excerpt somewhere, but to see it and hear it, it really did something for me. So thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful. I don't know if you saw me. I was clapping like crazy.
yes, sir. I saw you. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Go ahead, Sister Tina.
Yes, sir. What I heard, and this is what I wrote down. I don't know if I wrote it down word for word, but the minister said nobody can lead in our nation unless they become clear.
Yes.
So that spoke to what we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anyone else before we move forward? Okay. Science of the mind. This comes from question number 1 in lesson number 1. It says, do you agree that man needs a science of mind? But we're gonna cover this from an Islamic standpoint. First and foremost, the word science means a systematized knowledge as an object of study. And the word systematize means to arrange in accord with a definite plan or scheme. So when something works according to a system, it's something that's organized. It's an algorithm or a step-by-step process that's very well developed, very well planned, very well put together. The word science means it's a knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths or the operation of general laws, especially as obtained and tested through the scientific method. So when we're dealing with science, we're dealing with actual facts. We're dealing with that which can be proven and reproduced in order to find the same results. And the word itself comes from the Latin word scientia, which means knowledge, awareness, and understanding. This is a basic example of word clearing. And in dealing with word clearing, one of the first things you do is you start with your word, and then you go to the root of the word. Where does the root word come from? And then you look at whether it's a noun, an adjective, an adverb, and then you look at the definition that's specific to what you're trying to find out. That's part of word clearing. So what is the mind? Now, this is based on Merriam-Webster dictionary. The mind is the element or complex of elements in an individual that feels, perceives, thinks, wills, and especially reasons. Now, I want us to I want us to really chew on this for a moment. It's a complex of elements in an individual. Okay. Does anyone have a cognition, or would you like to explain that in your own words, or what you might see in that before we go forward? How is that explained using Dianetics? Something that's in the individual. If we talk about the individual, we're talking about a messed body, the physical body, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's a force and a power that exists inside this physical body, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this force or power is connected to, but separate from this physical body. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Brother Ahmad.
Thank you, sir. I'm thinking of the Thetan.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah.
So in Dianetics, you have what's called the theta mess theory. The thetan is the life force. It's what's called this is called the life static. Is there anyone that doesn't know what the word static means?
I do not, sir.
Okay.
At least not in this context. I would appreciate a breakdown.
Okay.
What is the word, Brother Ahmad?
Sir.
Say again?
What is the word Brother Ahmad said? That Thetan? I didn't get that.
Theta, the thetan. The thetan is the term that L. Ron Hubbard uses to describe the mind, the thought, or the spirit. He calls it the thetan. It's based on the word theta, Theta.
Pardon my mispronunciation, and thank you for that. I didn't know that.
Well, what did you say?
I called it a Thetan because of
that's
theta.
correct. Thetan is correct.
Okay.
Yes,
sir.
Thetan is correct, but it's based on theta. It's based on thought, but the Thetan is the individual that exists inside that physical body. Like we say, Allah came in the person of. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we're saying the same thing. So when you understand what theta or the thetan is in Dianetics, that translates to Allah in Islam. And when we say Allah comes in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, we're talking about that eternal, the eternal aspect or mind of Allah that has been purified and perfected. And that perfection came in a human form whose name is Master Farad Muhammad. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So everyone that's in this room, when we came to this room, Allah came in our person as well. It's just that we haven't perfected that yet because we're all not clear yet. I know I'm not clear. Out of all the people in the room, I'm probably one of the most aberrated individuals in the room. Go ahead, Sister Jocelyn.
Brother Lookman, I just wanted to go back to the minister for a minute and what you were saying before, as far as him saying that one of the weapons that Allah was going to use was grief. And as you were talking about the clearing, it made me think about several ayats in the Quran that talks about the believers, and in of course Master Muhammad tells us that I want to be ourselves. But in 1062 it said, now surely the friends of Allah, they have no fear nor shall they grieve. Minister said that this technology is going to make us help us to be ourselves. So it's just that particular nor shall they grieve, it resonates because I keep seeing it over and over and over in the Quran. And it just made me think about those particular ayats. They said, nor should they grieve, and that what you're doing, what you're sharing with us is helping us position ourselves to be of those who will not be of those who grieve.
That's the plan, Sister Jocelyn. Because if those don't grieve, then we could also say those that don't grieve, we could also say that they have become what?
It's clear, like you said.
So in
And then
Dianetics, we
being
could say
clear
they become clear from
or
the
purified.
from the Islam, we could say they are of the purified ones. So we can bring the tech to believers. We don't even have to use the term clear. We can come and use the word purified one. So we can teach them Dianetics, but we're using the language of Islam. Does that make
Brother
sense?
Luca, would it be the same, like if we're speaking to our Christian family, like those, like they say that they're sanctified, but if they really understood what sanctified mean, would that be the same as purified as well?
Yeah, but you could now, if you want to come with them, you could say, let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus.
Yes, sir.
So you don't have to deal with Dianetics or the Holy Quran. With the Christian family, and as we go through this, because the goal is for us to help our friends and our family, we're going to throw some Bible in here as well. Because all of us in here have at least a few family members that are in the church, and they don't want no Islam, they don't want no Dianetics. All they want is Jesus. Hallelujah. That's all they want.
Yes, sir.
So we can find the tech in the Bible as well. And as time goes on, we will do that also.
I didn't mean to take you off, but thank
Oh,
you.
no, that's fine. That's fine. Because the question that you pose will pull out information that may also be needed by somebody else. So all questions are, the floor is open for all questions. So that complex, and there's a reason why I keep saying this, and it's going to come up in a minute. This complex of elements in an individual that feels, perceives, and thinks, you have in Dianetics is called the life static. And the static, the way L. Ron Hubbard describes the static, he says it's basically a force that exists in the universe that has no location, it has no dimension. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, but it has the ability to think and to postulate and to calculate. So really, we're talking about the mind of Allah, because can you see the mind of Allah?
No, sir.
Can you touch it? Can you describe it? No, you can only describe it when it comes in the form of a person, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we're talking about the same thing. Another definition is an organized, conscious, and unconscious adaptive mental activity of an organism. So in an organism, mind consists of two elements. You have conscious mental activity, which in Dianetics they call the analytical mind, and the adaptive mental activity, Dianetics calls that the reactive mind. Okay. Now, coming from the perspective of the Bible for our Christian family, if you look in the book of James and you look in the book of Romans, it talks about these two minds warring inside of me. And then in the book of Romans, I think it goes on to say that the law of my mind is at war with the law in my members. So the mind and the physical body are always fighting against each other. How do you know? In about 3 weeks, we're going to find out how the mind and the body war, because what's coming up in about 3 weeks?
Ramadan.
Ramadan. Mm-hmm. And the mind and the body go to war, right?
Brother
Brother Lukman,
Yes, sir.
do you know the chapters and verses of those two books that you quoted, Book of Romans and James? Do you know where we're at?
Not off the top of my head, but I think in the book of Romans, I believe it's chapter 7. Okay. James, I'd have to look it up, but Romans is chapter 7. Go ahead, 361. You are on mute.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The whole book of James. It's a short book, but the whole book
Okay. Praise be to Allah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. There you go. So again, that's how we go after our Christian family. We don't even, have you ever tried to give a child medicine and the medicine just tastes horrible? You had to find a way to hide the medicine in the food or give them the medicine in a food that they like.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to have to straight wire our family, but we might have to use the Bible to do it. The word mind also means disposition or mood. Okay. The word disposition means a prevailing tendency, mood, inclination, nature, or character. And here's where we tie it in with the Holy Quran. In the Holy Quran, it says, we take Allah's color. And who is better than Allah at coloring? And we are his worshipers. That's Surah 2, Ayat 138. But when you look at the word color in Arabic, the Arabic word is sibgada. Sibgada. It means to dye, to stain, or to color. It also means to give something the air, the touch, or the appearance of. And it means nature or character. To take on the color of Allah could also mean to take on his mind. So now how does that line up with the teachings? Study guide number 18. Rising above emotion into the mind and thinking of God. So Surah 18 is teaching us what? How to take on the color of Allah. So study guide 18 in Surah 2, verse 138 is saying the same thing. Does that make sense? Everyone still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm inviting folks right now.
Okay, praise be to Allah. Now here's these definitions I found were actually pretty interesting. The word mind comes up as a conscious substratum or factor in the universe. And the word substratum is a substance that is a permanent subject of qualities or phenomena. Now, I don't know if you see it, but this is what I saw. It's saying that the mind is the conscious part of the universe. In other words, the universe is a living entity, has no beginning nor ending. And the mind, what we have, is a substratum or a factor of the universe, which means you have the larger universe, you represent a small part of the universe. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay, as individuals, we are individualized aspects of the universe. But we've been in this physical form so long, we forgot who we were. We think we are the messed body, but we are the theta. We thought we are the physical body, but we are really the eternal spirit. So when the lesson tells us, it's lesson number 2, question number 1, who made Holy Quran a Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why did Islam renew history every 25,000 years? In that degree, it teaches us that Allah is all of us. And the minister says that Allah is all of us, but there's always one that is at the head. Does that make sense? So in the Bible, now let's go back to the Bible. The book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 20. 120. That should be easy to remember because the 5% always talk about the 120. But in the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 20, it says, for the invisible things from the beginning of the world are clearly seen through the things that are made, even God's power and the Godhead, so that they will be without excuse. So the Bible is telling us that in order to study the unseen, you have to study what you see. And the Godhead, well, the Godhead to me means the head God. or Allah in person? Go ahead, Sister Tina.
Yes, sir. So what you said about the mind is a conscious part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sister Ava had said in her, I'm paraphrasing, but in her lecture, um, oh, I can't remember the name of it right now. But anyway, she was saying that our thoughts, the thought of everyone who has lived, their thoughts are in the ether.
You're talking about mind. You're talking about mind wars.
Okay, that was Mind Wars. Okay, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes,
Did I
ma'am.
word it right? Did I word it properly?
It's in
So
the ether.
okay, so that's I can see that. I can connect what she said there to that what you just said about our conscious, being a part of the universe.
And when you study other from other perspectives, you'll see books talking about what's called the Akashic records. And the Akashic records is saying the same thing. If you look at it from the perspective of science or physics, they talk about what's called it's called the Higgs boson. When you deal with quantum physics, they're saying that everything in the universe is connected. Well, the universe is the mind of Allah. As an individual, we are localized units of the greater universe. Does that all make sense?
Sir, yes, sir.
Sister Tina, did you still have something else?
No, sir, I have to put my hand down. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Sister Angela. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Happy Savior's Day, everyone.
Savior's Day.
Praise be to Allah. Still chewing on this swan song. When I was going to the org, by this, I think I was at the very first seminar that they did in Chicago for the auditors. And when the minister basically, things soon after, he made everybody student, ministers and student laborers or whatever the case may be. And like on what you played, he was saying that we have to qualify for positions awaiting us. So when I went to the org, I paid a special attention to the Scientologists that went there, the ones that were clear. And I think I came into a very phenomenal understanding, because most time people equate being clear with righteousness, and it's not. You can be a clear devil, you can be a clear murderer, you can be a clear whatever you choose to be at the time, that you're not allowing anything to take you off course. And what you're sharing about the mind right now is us going, especially I think even higher than bliss, because even though Iblis was in the company of gods, it took this dust man to bring out what was in him already. But it took that, because if that dust man was never made, it would have sat dormant in him. So being clear also give us an opportunity to, how can I say, battle those things which end, because we can see ourselves clearly. I believe that the marrying of the supreme wisdom to this is us qualifying to become gods after we are clear of our own mistakes, or not mistakes, coloring from,
Yes, ma'am.
the children of Israel. I just wanted to add that. Assalamu alaikum.
Jerusalem. Praise be to Allah. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who's this?
Mr. Karima.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What's coming to my mind is Psalms 82:6. Ye are all God, children of the Most High, as well as the ayat in the Quran that says Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. So with those two scriptures, are we not already God, but really just don't know it? And the teachings in what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's work is to make us not Muslims, but gods. So
Mhm.
isn't that just waking up that spirit in us? That's what's in my mind right now.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. As you are speaking, this is what came to my mind. Everyone here at one point in time has had a room that was in disarray, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, a kitchen, a living room, a bedroom that has been, we'll use the term quote unquote dirty. Now, when you cleaned the room, did you add clean to the room or did you remove dirt from the room?
Remove dirt.
Yeah, when you clean a room, you don't add clean, you remove dirt. And as you remove dirt, the clean is already there. It's just that the clean is under the dirt. And that's
Yes,
what
sir.
Dianetics is doing. It's not adding anything new to us. It's taking away the stuff that's blocking who we already are under the surface. We're already that. The minister says, but we're buried under different stuff. So yes, Sister Karima, you're 100% correct, right and exact.
Mm-hmm.
Let this, again, here's the quote that we can use for our family that are Christians. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Because then how would you use, okay, here's how we can use this. How would you describe the operations of a clear, but use the language? You want to use the tech of Dianetics, but you want to use the language of Christianity. Okay. When you look at the 3 trials of Jesus, the first trial was turn these stones to bread. The second trial was cast yourself off the temple so the angels will come and catch you lest you dash your feet against the stones. And the third trial was he took him up to the high mountain and said, if you bow before me, I will make you rule over all of this. Now, here's how I perceive those ayats. This is how I personalize those ayats. First thing, before we can sin, we have to justify the sin. We have to turn the stones to bread, meaning take things which we can't, that we're not supposed to eat, and we got to convert it into something that we can eat. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So before we sin, we gotta justify it in our mind. Minister Farrakhan called it deceptive intelligence. The second thing you have to do to sin, first you got to put the thought in your mind, then you got to put yourself in an environment to make the sin manifest. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And then once you justify the thought in your mind, then you put yourself in the environment, then you have to willfully make the decision to do it. You have to bow, and then you receive all the things that Satan has in store for us. Let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus would be turn the stones to bread. What did he say? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out the mouth of God. So he was able to overcome his reactive mind when the reactive mind made a suggestion. When the whispering of the slinking devil whispers, Jesus was able to say, I'm not doing that. Come Ramadan, when it's around 2 o'clock in the afternoon and our stomach is grumbling, the reactive mind might say, well, you're sick, or you can make the day up. So just go ahead and break your fast. We have to be able to say, no, I'm not going that route. Jesus represents it clear because he didn't put himself in the environments that would allow him to fall into those predicaments. And Jesus did not bow when the reactive mind in him made those suggestions. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So we're using the Bible, but we're talking Dianetics. So again, and I'm going to show a small clip. I like to back it up with words of the minister, but we are the universe. We are the life static in miniature.
They did a test of students coming out of the 8th grade measuring their competency in mathematics. Now, why mathematics? Most black people say, like mathematics, it's too hard. It's so difficult. And what we don't realize is we are a mathematical creation. What is this? What is that? Rhythm. Who got more rhythm than us? And what is rhythm? Mathematics, that's what it is. Look at the little babies on the street moving. Moving, brother. What is that? That's mathematics, that's rhythm, that's balance. You got it all. But you just don't know what you got. And you need the right training, the right teaching to bring it out. You just a clock. Need the right teaching and the right teachers that love you enough to bring out what God has already put within. Listen, not only am I mathematics, I am law. Yes. I function by means of law. I get up in the morning obeying the law. I walk obeying the law. I am law. How come I can't master what I already am? I am biology. I am botany. I am zoology. I am oceanography. I'm all of it. I am the microcosm in the macrocosm. I am the universe in miniature. How come I can't master what I already am?
I get chills every time I listen to it.
Yes, sir.
Now let's attack this term life force. So what is the mind? We have the life static and we have life force. So L. Ron Hubbard explains it like this. He says, a life static has no mass, no motion, no wavelength, no location in space or time. Yet it has the ability to postulate and to perceive. The thought, the soul, the vital part of you, which animates this mess, the body. So we have the physical body, and then there's a force inside that animates the body. How do you know? When you move your arm, how did you do this? You produced a thought. That thought transferred into chemistry, which transferred into nerve impulses that move the arm. All this is chemistry. And this is based on what? The thought or the desire to do this. That shows that we have the ability to postulate and to change our environment. I didn't realize, I didn't understand fully the drills that I saw being done in the org. I would look at some of these drills and I'm like, that looks totally stupid. But then as I grew, I understood that these certain little drills, moving your hand, touching the wall, touching the book, picking up the book, is slowly re-educating us into the control of the mesh universe. I began to understand that. He says in Dianetics, we are dealing then with theta and mest. Now, for those who don't know, mest represents matter, energy, space, and time. So we're dealing with the physical universe, matter, energy, space, and time. So theta is thought. It's also called the life force. It's called the elan vital. It's called the spirit, the soul, or any of the other numerous definitions it has had for some thousands of years. Now, can we find the term life force in the teachings, though? Because if we can find the life force in the teachings, then that gives us another marriage. That gives us more ARC, affinity, reality, and communication with Scientology and Dianetics. Well, if you look in the book called Seven Speeches, in Seven Speeches, it says this, the question is asked, what was before God? The answer was, we do not believe that there was anything before God, since he is the first and from him came all things, then before God there was nothing. What do you mean? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us it does not mean that there was no objects in space, but he says anything that is doing nothing is considered nothing. And since God was the first life force in the universe, activating himself and then giving activity to all things, then it was the action of setting things in motion which created time and life. And so we look at God as the prime mover, the cause of all existence. Before him, there was no existence. Because of him, all things exist. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just gave us a definition for static, except he used the word Allah in life force. L. Ron Hubbard uses thetan and life static. But we know and we're taught that Allah existed in the darkness. And then he took that first atom of life and it sparked. But Allah was already present. But Allah has no location, no time. He always has been, always will be. Does this make sense? Is everyone still with me?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what L. Ron Hubbard is doing, he's giving us another way of looking at what we've already been taught. And this is Seven Speeches, page 150. Ministry class says always give reference. That way you can always go, and Brother Dr. Wesley always says, always have your receipts. And my father always said that too, always keep your receipts, because then you can talk smack. Always have your receipts.
Yes, sir.
So when we understand this life force, in Dianetics, they call it the eighth dynamic. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
here's where we diverge with the Church of Scientology. Okay, here's where we diverge. Because when they talk about the eighth dynamic, they say the eighth dynamic is their urge toward existence as infinity. This is also identified as the supreme being. It is also called the God dynamic. Okay, y'all heard this before, correct?
Yes, sir.
But we don't deal with mystery God. Now, this part is going to be my opinion. And if it's true, then it is. But this is my opinion. For us, the eighth dynamic is just not called the God dynamic. For us, there's a person that sits in that dynamic. So for us, we could say the eighth dynamic represents Master Fard Muhammad. Could we agree with that? Or is there anyone
Yes,
that
sir.
does not?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. So what is the mind, life static, and life force? In Arabic, now here's where we're going to go into the Quran. In Arabic, the terms associated with mind that are synonymous with the above definition and found in the Holy Quran are nafs and kalaba. So we're about to find the tech of Dianetics in the Holy Quran. And Sister Karima must have been looking at my notes when I was typing this up earlier today, because this was the ayat that she was talking about. And certainly we created man, and we know what his mind suggests to him, and we are nearer to him than his life vein. That's Surah 50. And it's ayat 16. I forgot to put the one in there. That's ayat 16. So now look at this. And we know what his mind suggests to him implies there's two things here, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because the mind is suggesting to him. So him and mind are two separate things. Thetan, messed body. Mind of God in miniature and the human body. The mind is making suggestions. In Dianetics, they call it the reactive mind. And then further down the road, he calls it the genetic entity. So the mind makes suggestions. How many of us have a mind that's constantly making suggestions to us to do stuff we know we ain't got no business doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought I was the only one.
I bear witness.
Now, when you look at the word nafs, now here's a very interesting thing that I found in the dictionary. The word nafs comes from the root word nafusa, which means spirit, mind, or nature. It also means the personal identity, the mental or inner life. It means the mental attitude. Now, in the Holy Quran, it says that Allah breathed his spirit into Adam. When Allah breathed his spirit, the word in Arabic is ruh. And when ruh comes into the human form, it's called nafs. So the nafs is Allah, a portion of Allah that's placed into an individual container. Okay. It's like if you go to the ocean, you have the water in the ocean. If you take a cup of water and you hold the water up, the same water that's in the cup is the same water that's in the ocean. The only difference is the quantity. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Same water in the ocean is the same water in the cup, but the ocean is greater than the cup of water. We could say the same principle applies to us. We are the same God, but just a smaller version. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, here's what the root word means. Now, I want you to see if you see what I see. The root word means to relieve sorrow. So we're talking about the mind. Nafs is the mind, but the root word means to relieve sorrow, to remove worries and anxieties, to vent one's emotions, to get off one's chest, to get out of one's system. This root word, nafusa, what is it describing that's related to Dianetics?
Is it auditing?
Yes, ma'am. It's describing the process of auditing. So we have nafs, meaning the mind, but it also ties into the principles that correspond to the principles of auditing. All this is what auditing does. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So can we say up to this point, we've connected some of the aspects of Dianetics, lesson number 1, to the Holy Quran?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Allah's grace, praise be to Allah. Now, when you look at the word kalaba, the word heart in Arabic, it says in the Holy Quran, in their hearts is a disease. So Allah increased their disease, and for them is a painful chastisement because they lie. So when you look at this definition of kalb, the root word is kalaba, but one of the derivatives is the word kalb, a Q-A-L-B. If you notice there, it says the best or choicest part, correct?
Yes, sir.
Karen. Okay. So when our lesson says, why isn't the devil settled on the best part? Could we use this lesson to describe the reactive mind and the analytical mind?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Yes, sir.
Okay. Praise be to Allah. So what would a science of the mind be? A science of the mind, which would be the science of the heart or the science of the nafs or the science of the kalaba, would represent a systematized method or course of study based on observable, measurable, and predictable truths that could be used to relieve anxiety and grief from the mind. What is the name of the science that does that?
Dianetics.
That's called Dianetics. So when we say, I seek the refuge from anxiety and grief, Refuge means a shelter or protection from danger or distress, something to which one has recourse in difficulty. So it goes back to the original question. So if Allah will use grief as a chastisement, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us a tool to remove grief, then could Dianetics be considered a tool to get us to the other side?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the duty of a civilized person? To teach the uncivilized people who are savage civilization. Now we could say to teach the uncivilized people, we could substitute aberrated, couldn't we?
Yes, sir.
And for the word
Yes,
savage, could we substitute the word who are savage? Could we say who are dramatizing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what are they going to teach? Righteousness, the knowledge of himself, the science of everything in life. Everything. What does the word everything mean? It means everything. It means everything. So does the word everything, so when it says the science of everything, does that exclude the science of the mind?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, because then it wouldn't be everything. So if everything would have to include the science of the mind, then the 5% would be obligated to study the science of the mind in order to teach it, wouldn't they?
Yes, sir.
That's just the logical pattern. If the 5%'s job is to teach the uncivilized who are savage civilization, then they have to teach the science of everything in life, which includes mathematics and chemistry and physics and biology, but it also includes the science of the mind. But before you can teach the science of the mind, you have to learn the science of the mind and be able to apply the science of mind, correct?
Yes, sir.
So why would the 5% have to do that? Because the 5%'s job is not to just teach Black people. The lesson says to teach freedom, justice, and equality to all of the human family of the planet Earth. We have to go forth with this tech and help anyone and everyone who wishes to be helped, regardless of race or creed or class or color, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the end of part 1. If anyone has any questions or wants to go over any of the questions from the lesson, if you've completed them, we can do that. I wanted to keep a little bit of time so we can actually start addressing some of the questions and open the floor up to the believers. Anyone?
Brother Lukman, which course book?
We are talking about Dianetics extension course, the extension course that goes with the Dianetics book 1. And we're starting off with lesson number 1. Now, I didn't know if everyone would be able to get the extension course in time. So if you don't have it, don't worry. We're gonna be doing this every week until we can complete this book.
Yes, sir. Do you have your book? Because I have the order this course book. I think I have the extension course book because I did the extension course. I just need to find it.
Okay.
What's the first question in it?
The first question is, do you agree that man needs a science of mind?
Let me see. Right, that's the other book. I have to find that one.
Okay.
But yes.
And the reason why it's important for everyone to get their extension course is because we want everyone to get credit with the org so you can get your gold seal so we can be fluent with the tech, because there's a flood that's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
There's a flood
Brother
that's
Lukman?
coming. Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I put my email in the chat. Are you still able to give us, like a copy of
Yes.
tonight's thing so we can study from it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Also,
Anyone who wants a copy of the Zoom meeting, just put your email in the chat, and I will send it to you as an attachment. So if you wish to go back over it and to study it, you can do that at your own leisure. Where do I find the extension book? You have to contact your closest org, or you can do, you can either actually have them send you the extension course, or you can do it online, and they give you the questions online, and you can turn it in online. But the main thing is get a copy of the questions. The reason why I chose not to type up the questions and hand them out is because that would be in the area of like copyright infringement. And I want to be respectful to the org and not really do anything that would be against their policies and procedures. But if we all have our own copy, then there's nothing that says we can't discuss it as a study group. And that's why I recommend that everyone gets their own copy, because I don't want to infringe on the org. And I don't think the minister would want us to do that as well. Go ahead, Brother Wadu.
I had another question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
So it was in regards to the questions, because I did send for the book, but so by next week, if we still don't have the questions, or we just gonna go by, we should just write them down as we discuss them.
We'll
But
let.
I wanted to try to get get some answers.
Okay. Well, the main thing is, keep in mind the correct answers. You want to do the lesson, and you want to turn in that lesson to the org,
right,
to get the 100% correct answer. Okay. What I'm not doing is I'm not giving us the correct answer. I can show in different parts of the book where the correct answers are, but I want my goal is, and my purpose is more so to connect this with the Supreme Wisdom and the Holy
And
Quran.
the Holy Quran, right? Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't want us to take
we
anything
don't
away
have the
from.
questions that you're not concerned about that.
What's that again?
You're not. So we just dealing with your goal is not necessarily if we don't have those questions answered when we come back next week.
Right. If you have
Okay.
them answered, that's fine. But I want you to still follow the process that the org has established. Get your extension course, do the lessons, send them to your org representative. That way you can get credit with the org, because the goal is, because Brother Lukman can't give you a gold seal.
Right. I'm aware of all of that. I'm just saying, I don't want to get behind with
Oh, you
the
won't get
connections
behind.
that we're making. And if if we're dealing with the questions, that's going to connect with the Holy Quran and Supreme Wisdom too. I don't want to fall back on that. So that's why I was asking.
No, we'll be fine, sister, because I kind of understood that everyone, it was short notice. Everyone, just with the nature of things are right now, that I didn't think everyone would get their lessons in time for
Okay.
this Sunday, which is why I just kind of I wanted to lay a foundation, let everyone know what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and what's to be expected. I'm going to assume that we might have them all by next week. But even if we don't have it all by next week, there's nothing that says I can't go back and readdress a question that we have already passed.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't mind readdressing stuff. And I might do the twice a week thing just to solve that problem.
Okay. Yes,
so that one week can be like a review, one day can be like a review, and the other day can be us going through. That way everyone can stay right up with exactly where we need to be.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Go ahead, Brother Wadu.
Yes, sir. You may have just answered my question as I was looking through the extension course that I've already had or begun.
Mm-hmm.
I saw where certain questions had been signed off on, and I was going to ask if there was someone here in the group that would sign off on that, or is that something that we send in to get the sign off to obtain the goal, to reach the goal that you set?
No, for the lessons, follow the policy and the procedure as established by the org. Whoever your org representative is, do the lesson, turn it into your org representative. One of the ways that I do it, and I've been doing it this way for, oh God, 8-9 years, instead of filling out the lesson and putting it in the mail, I type them out and I send it as an email. That way I send it and they get it the same instant. And then the org representative contacts me usually within a day or two. You got a 100% on that, and then keep moving. So I don't worry about putting it in the mail, sending it, and then wait for it to come back. I email everything. That way on my computer, I have a copy of all of my lessons. So from starting from science or survival to self-analysis, handbook for pre-clears, all those lessons, I have a printout of all my lessons in one notebook. That way I can always go back and review stuff and see how things evolve, because the tech evolves as you go forward. It evolves and it changes. But the Dianetics itself lays a great foundation. In the beginning of Dianetics, he's real heavy on the removal of dealing with the engrams. As he goes down and it evolves, his focus becomes more on increasing the self-determinism of the individual. So there's an evolution of the science, but the Dianetics lays a great foundation. But yeah, go through the org and get your sign-offs from an org rep.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Go ahead, Sister Sharon.
Yes, sir. I had asked you a question. What was that first question you mentioned that was in the course for Dianetics?
Lesson number 1, it says, do you agree that man needs a science of mind? Amplify.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure but I had the wrong lesson on top. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay, praise be to Allah. Thank you, Brother Lukman.
You're very welcome. Anyone else? We got a couple of minutes left. Otherwise, I will go ahead and end it, and then brothers and sisters can get ready for the next Zoom. By the way, I did send out a link. I found out through Brother Robin that there is a group that meets on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I believe, and they go over the book Self-Analysis. And I sent out the Zoom link, I think a couple of days ago. So now you have this group, you have Brother Batin's group with the Dianetics, and now we have another that deals with another aspect of Dianetics, the book Self-Analysis.
If you will you share that again? I just put my email in the chat.
Let's see. Where can I pull it up real quick? Give me 1 second. I'll put it in. Put it in the chat. Let's see, this is it. And let's see. Okay. That's the Zoom meeting for Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Any final thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, or suggestions?
Yes, sir. I wanted to mention to Brother Ronald, because he asked a question, I believe, in the chat
Okay.
about where he could get the books. I know if he calls the org, if you call the org Brother Ronald, you should introduce yourself as Brother Ronald so that you wouldn't pay the full amount for the course, because we were given a discount being members in the Nation of Islam.
So
That
this,
was-
oh, go ahead.
That was it, beloved.
Okay. So yeah, get the book. Start your lessons. I don't know how many weeks it's going to take us. All I know is there's 209 questions. I'm going through the book at the same time. I have some notes in my copy, and I have my Holy Quran references in here already. So at the same time that I'm doing the Philadelphia Doctor course, I'm trying to make time to go back through the Dianetics so that we can see this book from a different perspective. Going back through this book now, and this is why I think it's real important to put notes in books. I came across some notes that I probably put in these books, I don't know, 3, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And as I'm going through the notes, I'm like, man, I can't remember writing that, but I'm like, it was a good note to put there, because now it's like time has passed, and when you constantly study and then you come back and you pick something up, you see it from a different perspective. And then I went back through just the first couple, the first 10 pages, and I saw so many ayats from the Holy Quran. I saw so many words, so many quotes where the minister would tie into this. I'll give you these real quick. Under the chapter where it's called Book 1, Chapter 3 is called The Goal of Man. The Goal of Man. And I'm not going to read it to you, but I'll read to you the ayats that I have written there, and then you can go and study those ayats and see what you find. But the ayats are Surah 2, verse, I think it's 198. Sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting. Surah 3, verse 14. Surah 10, verse 25. Surah 53, verse 30. And Surah 53, verse 42. Does anyone have the Quran handy?
I do.
Could you read Surah 2, verse 148 real quick? If everyone could just choose one ayat real quick, but go ahead and read 2, 148.
Yes. But look, man, I thought you had said 198. So
Oh, no, yeah, 198.
148?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 198.
Okay. Sorry, I'm coming. One, 9, 8. Okay. Surah 2, 198. It is no sin for you that you seek the bounty of your Lord. So when you press on from Arafat, remember Allah near the holy monument, and remember him as he has guided you, though before that you were certainly of the erring ones.
Okay, now read 148, because it was the fact that I can't read my own handwriting.
Surah 2, 148. And everyone has a goal to which he turns himself. I'm sorry, that was my daughter. And everyone has a goal to which he turns himself. So vie with one another in good works. Wherever you are, Allah will bring you all together. Surely Allah is possessor of power over all things.
All right. Now, can someone read?
I found the next one if you're ready.
Okay, 3, Ayat 3,
1
verse
through 4.
14. Verse 14.
Verse 14, I thought you said 1 through 4.
No, verse 3, verse 14. And the way I remember this is, what's the significance of 314? Come on,
I know
mathematician.
you said it before, but I don't remember.
Come
But
on,
I
mathematician.
remember you
Is it
asking us that
pi?
before.
Pi.
That's pi.
Is it pi?
Pi.
Tell me it's a pi.
So what surah is that? I'm sorry, I wrote down surah 3, verse
Surah
1 through
3, verse 14.
Okay, yes, sir. Fair seeming to men is made the love of desires, of women and sons and hoarded treasures of gold and silver and well-bred horses and cattle and tilth. This is the provision of the life of this world, and Allah with him is the good goal of life.
Okay. Surah 10, verse 25.
Surah 10, verse 25. And Allah invites to the abode of peace and guides whom he pleases to the right path.
Okay. Surah 53, verse 30.
'53, verse 30. That is their goal of knowledge. Surely thy Lord knows best him who strays from his path, and he knows best him who goes aright.
And then Surah 53, verse 42.
And that to thy Lord is the goal.
Okay. So as I go through the Dianetics, when an ayat pops in my head by Allah's grace, I write that ayat down because that ayat connects me to what's in the text.
Okay.
And then I have a Holy Quran on PDF. So if a certain word pops up, I can type that word into the PDF. It'll do a word search on the whole Holy Quran and show me everywhere in the Holy Quran where that word is located.
Wow.
And if you want a copy of that Holy Quran on PDF for the low price of free, put your name in the chat and I'll send you a copy of the PDF. That way you can do the same thing when you study. Because you're gonna need, as we're going through it and we're connecting the tech to the Holy Quran, it makes it so much easier when you can search the whole Holy Quran for one particular word. Otherwise, it takes you forever because you're trying to think, oh, I can't remember where I saw this word at. And then you're there forever. Now you can just type the word in, bloop, there's a word search. It shows you every place where the word can be found. Sister, I think that's Sister Denise at 361.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a website where we can type in one word.
No,
and get-
I'm gonna send you the PDF. I'm gonna send it to you as an
Okay.
attachment. You can
Okay.
put it right on your put it on your computer, and you can just do the word search right in on your computer in your Holy Quran.
Okay. And also, I wanted to. There's only 5 chapters in the book of James.
Okay.
And the 3rd chapter talks about the tongue and controlling that. You can control anything if you control your tongue. So I was thinking, everything goes into controlling, your mind to control what your body is doing. Yes, sir. That's why I said the whole book.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Now, last but not least, I'm going to share one other tool with you real quick. This will only take like a minute. This is something else I use. Okay, it must have moved. Let me pull it up here. Okay. This way you can, okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is called the corpus.quran.com. So, for example, here I can pull up any surah in the Holy Quran, and I'm gonna go to Surah 50, because Surah 50 is very, very significant. And this is the ayat that Sister Karima had mentioned. Then I go to verse, I'm gonna go to verse 16 here. Then when I hit go, it gives me the Arabic, it gives me the ayat and verse, the Arabic, and the translation. So when I'm talking about the nas, the nafs, okay, here's the word right here in Arabic, the transliteration. This is how the word looks in Arabic. This is N-A-F, this is S. So this is what it looks like in Arabic, nafs. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I hit the word nafs over here, I hit that, it's going to show me every place in the Holy Quran where I can find it. Surah 34, verse 50, Surah 35, verse 8. All these verses are going to be talking about the nafs, or the mind. And if you go all the way to the top, there's a lot of ayats here. It gives you the definition. It means to breathe, to aspire. It means self, soul, person, or mind here. And then this up here, this is the actual three. Every word has three, well, 99% of the words in Arabic have a root word that's made up of 3 letters. This is NFS, okay? So this is what I use when I'm doing my running from ayats back and forth. I'm juggling between this, my Quran on PDF, and then I have my Arabic dictionary, which, as you can see, is falling apart. It's time for another one. This one's literally just pages are falling out of it. But that's how I study, and I share that with you. That way you can have the same thing.
Which Arabic dictionary is that?
It's called the Hans Weir. Can you read that, or is it backwards?
It's right.
Okay.
Yes,
Hans
sir.
Weir.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I have that. So when you told us before, I ordered it.
Okay. So as we go through, whenever you have any, if you even have questions about the Arabic, you know, the structure of the word, how to find it, we can throw that in there, so so everyone can become fluent actually in looking up the words in here. Because once you go into the Holy Quran and you go into the Arabic words, the verse where that word is located, that verse opens up. You know, have you take a flower and you add sunlight and that flower opens up? That ayat will do the same thing. By clearing the words in Arabic, by the grace of Allah, you'll see deeper into what it is that Allah is saying in that area, if that makes any sense. So for everyone who wants the Zoom meeting, make sure you indicate that in the chat. And for those that want the PDF, indicate that in the chat as well. And I'll make sure you get those 2 things. Inshallah, let's see. We'll go for next Sunday, the 13th. God willing, we'll start going over lesson number 1. Every Zoom meeting from here on out is going to be kind of focused and geared towards the vocabulary that comes up in the extension course questions. And we're going to take because some words are italicized, we're going to find those words in the Holy Quran and marry that extension course to the Holy Quran and the Supreme Wisdom. So, beloved family, with that being said and done, if there's no other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, or suggestions, I'm going to go ahead and close it out so that everyone can go on to the next part of their evening. Attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Master of the day of judgment in which we now live, the alone do we serve, thine aid do we seek. Please, O Lord, guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray to hear thy teaching. Amen.
Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam.
Salam. Thank you, beloved.
Stay
Happy
safe.
Savior's Day, everyone.
Happy Savior's Day.
Safe day.
Davis Day. Walaikum salam.